Welcome to Millennium News 24 Daily News Update. I am with you. Now details this time. Texas Gov. Greg Abbott issued a full pardon Thursday for a former U.S. Army sergeant convicted of murder for fatally shooting an armed demonstrator in 2020 during nationwide protests against police violence and racial injustice. Abbott announced the pardon shortly after the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles announced a unanimous recommendation that Daniel Perry be pardoned and have his firearms rights restored. Perry had been in state prison on a 25-year sentence since his 2023 conviction in the killing of Garrett Foster and was released shortly after the pardon. A prison spokeswoman said Perry, who is white, was working as a rideshare driver when his car approached a demonstration in Austin. Prosecutors said he could have driven away from the confrontation with Foster, a white Air Force veteran who witnesses said never raised his gun. A jury convicted Perry of murder, but Abbott called it a case of self-defense. Texas has one of the strongest stand your ground laws of self-defense that cannot be nullified by a jury or a progressive district attorney, Abbott said. Officers responded nearly 1,000 times in the past 3 years to an Iowa juvenile treatment center where a staff member was killed by a 15-year-old resident, according to police records. Kathleen Galloway Mank was assaulted May 8th at the center, Ellipsis, Iowa. Her family's attorney, Trevor Hook, said the 50-year-old mother of 2 daughters suffered brain damage and died Tuesday after life support was removed. Galloway Mank had worked at Ellipsis for a year. Hook questioned whether the facility provides adequate training for staff dealing with sometimes dangerous clients. The 15-year-old had a violent history and had made previous threats against Galloway Mank, Hook said. He wasn't sure what prompted those threats. The Polk County Attorney's Office on Thursday announced that the 15-year-old has been charged with second-degree murder. He is being housed in a juvenile detention center. A news release did not say if the teenager would be tried as an adult. It wasn't immediately clear if he had an attorney. Leaving Washington behind, prominent far-right House Republicans who have repeatedly thrown this Congress into chaos showed up Thursday at Donald Trump's hush money trial to do what they do best. They stood outside Trump Tower filming their support for the indicted former president. They filed into the Manhattan courthouse, standing back and standing by, as Representative Matt Gaetz put it, invoking Trump's call to the extremist proud boys. They were admonished to put down their cell phones, and the House Republicans commandeered the spotlight, much like House Speaker Mike Johnson did earlier in the week, to rant against what they called the kangaroo court and the political persecution of Trump as their day jobs waited for their return. President Trump is not going anywhere, said Representative Lauren Boebert Arcolo, as hecklers interrupted. The White House on Thursday blocked the release of audio from President Joe Biden's interview with a special counsel about his handling of classified documents, arguing that Republicans in Congress only wanted the recordings to chop them up and use them for political purposes. Hours later, the House Judiciary Committee voted to advance an effort to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for not turning over the records. A second vote was scheduled for later Thursday with the House Oversight Committee, but the timing of any action by the full House and the willingness of the U.S. Attorney's Office to act on the referral remained uncertain. The department has a legal obligation to turn over the requested materials pursuant to the subpoena, Representative Jim Jordan, the GOP chairman of the Judiciary Committee, said during the hearing. Attorney General Garland's willful refusal to comply with our subpoena constitutes contempt of Congress. The rapid sequence of events Thursday further inflamed tensions between House Republicans and the Justice Department. setting the stage for another round of bitter fighting between the two branches of government that seemed nearly certain to spill over into court. Ukrainian units locked in street battles with the Kremlin's forces in a key northeastern Ukraine town have halted the Russian advance, military officials in Kyiv claimed Thursday. Though a senior Moscow official said the frontline push had enough resources to keep going. Russian attempts to establish a foothold in the town of Vovchansk, which is among the largest towns in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region with a pre-war population of 17,000, have been foiled, Ukraine's general staff said in a midday report. 6 people were injured Thursday in one Russian daylight attack on Vovchansk using cluster munitions, local officials said, as emergency workers and volunteers were rescuing people affected by shelling. Among the injured were 2 medics. Ukrainian authorities have evacuated some 8,000 civilians from the town. The Russian army's usual tactic is to reduce towns and villages to ruins with aerial strikes before its units move in. A short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24. Stay tuned.